I've been living a lie for the past 2 months. For those of you who follow me on this platform and who know, you know that I got engaged 2 months ago, which was a mistake. It should never have happened. I just could not be happy anymore. So I ended the engagement and I ended the relationship. Let me preface this by saying that this is not about a certain group of people or a certain culture or a certain type of man. This can happen to anybody. And I wanted to share my story because even if it were to reach one person out there who's going through the same things as I am, then my job is done. I'm not here to say that this person was a horrible person and these are all the horrible things he did and blah, blah, blah. This was a person who I truly loved, who I had planned to spend the rest of my life with, who I had planned to move myself out of where I am right now, leave everything behind, including my family, my friends, leave my comfort zone, to move to a different country, to move to a completely different culture in order to be with him, even temporarily, while we were going to sponsor him. We figured that it was just going to be easier for me to work there for at least a couple of years while we sponsor him, because the chances are better of me doing that rather than him coming here first. I saw so many red flags from the beginning, and I knew of his issues, but not only did I ignore them, I fully accepted them. And for those of you who know me a little more intimately and personally, you know that I was never actually someone who wanted to get married. I would always tell people, I'm never gonna get married, never gonna get married. I don't want to get married. So it was a shock to everyone when I had announced the engagement. A shock to me too. And he was the first person whom I was engaged before a long time ago when I was much younger. And at that time, I hadn't even known whether I wanted to get married or not. But other than that, he would have been the only person who I actually considered getting married to, having a family with. And, you know, even though time is running out for me to have kids, I am still able to have children. I actually did consider having kids with him. So there are a lot of things that I was willing to at least compromise on, not in order to be with him. They weren't deal breakers for him, but it was something that I was willing to consider to be with him in order to have a life with him. He has done so many good things to me, and you all can say that, oh, that's just part of his strategy, or that's part of the games that he played. And you know, that's fine. I've always thought of that as well. You know, we would be on video calls pretty much all day, every day. He would call me early on in the morning before I go to work. Anytime that that I could during the day. He knew of my lunch hour every day, and he pretty much made it a point to spend that lunch hour with me. And of course, when I leave work, when I get home from work, and of course during the night. And sometimes we would even spend the whole night just sleeping on the phone, um, which was very uncomfortable for me anyway. But uh, so we didn't really do that a lot. I would tell him things, and he would remember like the smallest details, and he would just remember everything that I told him, no matter how small it was. And you don't even know how important that was to me, and how much of a difference that made to me, because even with friends or relationships or family, um, that was never something that I had. So finding someone who did that for me was, I hate this word, was such a game changer, because I've never had anyone do that to me before, and I will always appreciate that, and I will always love him for that. He always, made it a point. I was having some health issues, and he always made it a point to, always check up on me, always made sure I ate. um, just everything. He was just there. He was just present. He would take me on the phone with him, when he does things with his family. So I had met his family over the phone very early on, and his friends, and they just got used to me being there, from very early on.